Joining me now from Washington, D.C., president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, I just can't help but think if this decision, this settlement you're able to reach with the state of California, in particular Los Angeles County, had been rendered maybe a year ago or even earlier, how the election results might be different, the 2018 midterm election results. When we saw, Tommy, you know this, Orange County, California, which was about 50% Republican districts, 50% Democrats. Now it's gone completely blue, all Democrat. I can't help but think how the results might be different.
We don't know how the results might have been different, but certainly when you have, as this lawsuit alleges, more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote, that's a recipe for fraud. Many of these names in Los Angeles County specifically, it was over 1.5 million names were on the rolls, but were listed as inactive, meaning they were either dead or had likely moved away. And so when you've got those extra names, that's obviously an opportunity for fraud. And that's why it's important that, the law requires this take place, that the states take steps reasonably to clean up the rolls. And we're grateful that we were able to settle our lawsuit on behalf of Judicial Watch and our other clients in California to get Los Angeles County to begin the process of removing these 1.5 million names. You know, 1.5 million is more than, I think, the population of 11 different states.
Right.
So this is a substantial number, and it's a big victory, because in Los Angeles County and California generally, they haven't been removing names from the rolls for 20 years.
The problem is glaring when you look at some of the, you just mentioned some of it. I want to drill down just a little bit, but the problem is glaring in California. Los Angeles County, more voter registrations than it has citizens old enough to register. California in general. Registration rate of about 101% of its age-eligible citizenry. 11 of California's 58 counties, registration rates exceeding 100% of the age-eligible citizenry. And as you mentioned, you know, these are people who may have died or may have moved. But I would also throw in there illegal immigrants, by the way, and that's a huge problem in terms of voter corruption in California. But these people who have moved, Tom, these are important. And so are the dead people, because somebody could show up and say, you know, that they could claim to be that person with no voter ID, which there is none in California. You could get away with that. The people who've moved, say they moved to, I don't know, South Dakota, pick it, they could still possibly vote in California via absentee ballot. And then, of course, you throw in there the illegals, which is a huge problem. There's really no way to clean these voter rolls off except do what you folks have done.
Well, that's right. They can immediately start removing dead individuals from the rolls, which incredibly took a federal lawsuit in order to get them to do. This is the settlement. And then the process is sending out cards asking these people, 1.5 million of which, hey, are you still there? Let us know if you still are there and you want to remain registered to vote. And that's the process that begins cleaning up these names. And it may take years, but of course it took 20 years to build up the dirty list to having 1.5 million extra names. It's going to take some time to remove them. But look, when we were doing the analysis nationwide, I think it was 3.5 million names nationally were extra on the rolls. So cutting into it almost by half is a significant victory. And of course, in other places in California with similar problems, like in San Diego County, we hope that they'll follow LA County's lead to start cleaning up the rolls as well.
Because,
it's just kind of just basic. Who could oppose this?
Yeah.
We don't want people, you know, and if you're there and you're registered to vote, you want to vote, you'll be able to vote.
Right.
But if you've moved away or you're dead, obviously you shouldn't be on the rolls.
Right. And you know, the 1.5 million number is staggering in and of itself. But you figure, based on the census numbers, you folks have crunched the numbers, that in reality you're talking probably more like 3.5 million that should be removed from the voter rolls in California. And you have a Secretary of State in California who was just reelected who says there's no voter fraud. Well, this doesn't necessarily prove voter fraud, but as you mentioned, it opens the door for voter fraud. So I would imagine, I mean, just the fact that California was putting up resistance tells me that there is institutionalized voter fraud and that a certain party that's in control of California, the largest state in the nation in terms of population, actually want this institutionalized voter corruption.